Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a My Thoughts video of The Last of Us. Alright, so The Last of Us came out 2 days ago from when I put this video up, so let me check on when that is. That was... okay, not 2 days ago, never mind. It was like yesterday, and it was on Friday of June 14th, 2013. Alright, so I did play it. And the reason why no playthroughs will be put on my channel of this game is because, well, I don't have an HD PVR, so I can't really actually record it for you guys. However, I just actually finished it 5 minutes ago. I know. So I'm gonna do a My Thoughts video on it. So what is a My Thoughts video, just for those of you who don't know, is basically a video about me telling you guys my thoughts on the game. I know, right? It's in the title. And it's basically my style of reviews. Just so you guys know, it is my thoughts, so this is my own opinions. If you guys don't agree with me, that's okay, because I might not agree with your opinions, and that will make the world go all better if all of us can accept others' opinions, right? So let's get started. Just like every single review I usually do at the end of the game, in the credits, is the graphics. And for a PS3 game, I would have to say this game is the most beautiful graphics I have ever seen in my goddamn life. It is gorgeous. Okay, every scene, every scenery, the mood, the setting, everything is just so perfectly blended together. The level design in this game wasn't so great. Comparing to most other games, it was more linear than anything. There's no really explorations, except for when you're like exploring through the town and all that. And even then, it's not like that much open, like that much different ways you can approach things. Most of the time, all you do is just go through the motions of, oh, here's a linear corridor, please proceed through it. Sometimes they open up for you like, okay, here's a corridor, but look, there's a fort here. You take either path and it will lead you to the same spot anyways. So level design in this game is not particularly great in that aspect, but the environmental design is absolutely breathtaking in a lot of parts. So graphics overall, I really do love. So this is a PowerPoint that I'm gonna be playing for you right here. So it's just gonna switch every 5 minutes the screenshot, or I'm gonna manually switch it depending. So yeah, that's how it's gonna work. And I know I should have said that first, thinking back on it. Oh well. More in the graphics. The character design, like graphically, it's gorgeous. They look as real as you can actually get it on a PS3. I've seen PS4 graphics and that looks so much better, but on a PS3 this is just absolutely gorgeous. Like I've said many times already, this game is just amazing on how it is presented. Okay, moving on is, oh, this is just eerie music. By the way, moving on, let's get to the sound part so I can explain to you what is playing in the background of this entire video. It's the soundtrack to The Last of Us. I'm hoping I can do this, so yeah. I'm gonna play the soundtrack to this game, and this music is just very awkward, so I'm gonna switch it, because it's just background noises. Drums. But, let's switch that. And yeah, the sound quality overall in this game is absolutely wonderful. The voices I have throughout my entire playthrough of this of The Last of Us, not one character annoyed me with the way they speak. That is actually very good, except for one character really did slightly annoyed me. Like, he's 14 years old, but he sounded like he was in his either 18s or early 20s or late 20s. It's really awkward to hear a 14-year-old talk with such a deep voice. It's just very awkward. But other than that one incident, it's fine. And as you can hear, the soundtrack of this game is actually very amazing. It is one of the few games I actually let the audio play louder than usual. Most of the time I don't like listen to the audio of the game or the soundtrack of the game because I feel it distracts from the game. This game, however, it's actually adding a lot of effects, and the best part about this game is minusing the sound effects for when the enemy spots you. There isn't really that much battle music, you know, which is great. I don't like games that have battle music. I despise it because you're in a situation to where you're getting shot at, and since you, in the background you hear drums and orchestra and instrumental playing in the background, you're like, what the fuck, you know? So it's great the way they did the sound in this game. I really do appreciate it. Also, the guns in this game sound amazing. It's actually one of the most impactful sounds I have ever heard from a gun, and for it to be that way, the guns feel really well, or you know, it made the guns a lot better, which is nice. So now that we talk about the sound, let's move on to story. Alright, I know I'm jumping through a lot of things really quickly here, but you know, I'm gonna try to keep these videos under 10 minutes. That's what I'm gonna try to do here. So, the story of this game. The story of this game is a zombie game. It is a zombie game. And as any other zombie game, there is an outbreak. And you are a main character who have never ever heard of a zombie before. Just like every other zombie game in this one universe, for some odd reason that everybody in this game does not know what a zombie is at the very beginning. Now how they did it is very interesting. Is that they at the very beginning, oh by the way, let me talk about the beginning a little bit. I'm not gonna spoil anything for you in the story, so you don't have to worry about that. But this has got to be the best intro in a game I have ever experienced. Ever. Okay, it has the best intro ever. And I can definitively say, looking through the rosters of what games are coming out this year, other than Watch Dogs, I'm not sure any other game. Wait, is Watch Dogs coming out this year? I'm pretty sure it is. It's not coming out in 2014, definitely. So I'm pretty sure it's coming out this year. Maybe, hopefully. But anyway, other than Watch Dogs on that roster of games, I don't see any other game can compete with the opening sequence with The Last of Us. So Grand Theft Auto, please, that game's story has never been good. So I don't care what you think, but yeah, Grand Theft Auto 5, I'm not expecting a great story, I'm expecting great gameplay. But anyways, that's off track right there. So yeah, best opening sequence of the year so far. So let me give you a little bit background on the story of this game. So the story of this game consists of Joel, which is this guy wearing the green shirt right here. Okay, he's your main character. He basically starts off in his home with his daughter, and things start happening, and things progress. And as it progresses, things happen. Yeah, I know this is very, very broad and open, but really, the intro is really good. I don't want to spoil it for you guys. It's one of the best intros, like I said. So I'm hoping you guys will go and watch that, like right now, preferably. Just pause this video and go watch it, and then come back. You know. So things happen, and then after that really sad scene that happened, that almost made me cry. It skips 20 years into the future. Yeah, I know. What game does that? Skipping 20 years into the future, you know, with still remaining to have the same person, like the same protagonist. It's really interesting on the way they did it. So let's say he's in his 30s at the beginning of the game. Now he's in his 50s, I would assume. So that's what happened. So as you progress, you meet a bunch of other characters. You meet Tess, your partner, and then later on you meet Ellie, which is this girl on the right, wearing the red shirt, and they become your protagonists of the game. The interactions between these two characters are great. It is better than, I say, Bioshock with Elizabeth and Booker DeWitt. It is better. So, in story aspect, I think the reason why I'm comparing Bioshock Infinite in this game is because Bioshock Infinite is my other game that currently is my game of the year. Bioshock Infinite is currently my game of the year, so I'm going to be comparing this one to Bioshock Infinite a lot. So in comparison with the character dynamic between the two protagonists, the two main protagonists of The Last of Us and Bioshock Infinite, The Last of Us did it a lot better. I also very liked how they presented Ellie. She's 14 years old, but they did not present her to be a vulnerable child. She's actually very mature and very tough, and she can handle a lot of shit thrown her way. But certain scenes in this game, the writer of this game pulled you back. It pulled you back to the reality of Ellie is still a 14-year-old girl. And that is such a freaking fucking great way to do it. Like, you see her being a badass for the past like 3 hours, and then suddenly this one scene popped up and you're like, oh shit, she's still 14, isn't she? And you just realize this shock that this girl who's 14, who's been through all of this shit with you, and she hasn't even flinched, you know, she's just pushing her way through it. And she shows her vulnerability sides in some scenes of this game, and it really brings you back into reality. And I think they did a fucking great job at presenting the character dynamics of this game. Not to mention the side characters you meet in this game. You get a decent length with a couple of side characters. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. You're going to be in 3 groups, okay? And each of these groups have 1, 2 side characters that you meet, and they're going to go with you through this part of the game. And you learn about them. You begin to love them, and then you have to leave them. I'm gonna put it lightly, you know, leave them. And the side character of this game has a full, well, I just blew my 10-minute mark, but that's okay. The side character of this game is amazing. They have such a very well-developed background, just enough so that you develop feelings for them, but not too much to where they overshadow the main 2 protagonists. So throughout this entire adventure, you're gonna be meeting, of course, the infected, or what is it they call them here? Zeds or Neds, or whatever they're calling it. But not only do you meet zombie-esque monsters, you also meet other human beings, and these people are what they call hunters, and they're just batshit insane, just like in every fucking other game. Like, every single zombie game out there is either going to have a group of people who just murder other people for supplies, a group of people who eat people, which is cannibalism, so it's just so weird, and then a group of people who's just trying to survive, and then a group of people which is the military. So those are like the main groups of any zombie game, and this game has all of them, so not to your surprise or anything, right? So you're gonna meet them, you're gonna shoot them, you're gonna kill them, and you're gonna move on. They're just basically the fodder of this game. What is interesting about this game is how they talk about the infestation. Now, this picture I chose for a very specific reason, because I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what this infection is. So we've already had a viral outbreak, which is from Resident Evil, a bacterial outbreak, which I'm guessing is from Left 4 Dead. Left 4 Dead is probably a bacterial outbreak, while Resident Evil is a viral outbreak. So you have both of those. This game didn't choose to go down that path. This game chose to go down the fungi path, or fungi, or however you say it. So basically, these plants, okay, that are basically spores or mushrooms or fungi. There, I'm gonna use that for now on. They became developed enough so that they can actually take over the human body and actually take control of it. Now, their idea stems from a fungi that actually exists in the real world. Now, I'm going to pop up a little picture right here in the corner of the screen to show you what it is, okay? Yep, it is. I am going to attempt to say that, which is the Ophiocordyceps unilateralis. Yeah, that's the scientific name for this mushroom fungi that actually exists in the real world. Well, this fungi in the real world can only take control of ants, I'm guessing, and some insects, and make them do what this fungi wants. And at the end of the fungi's life cycle, it basically kills the ant and destroys his body and starts spreading out onto wherever the ant dies, and start spreading its spores in an area so that any new ant that walks in it gets infected. So that's how they're going with this, and this fungi apparently, I'm guessing, developed far enough so that it actually affects humans. And only humans. This is an odd thing. Like, this fungi only affects humans. Like, you would think it also affect other animals, but no, you meet other animals in this game, like monkeys, deers, giraffe, dogs. They seem to not be infected by this fungi, but only humans are getting infected, which is very odd. Now, there are flaws with this story, I have to admit, and I'm going to tell you what those flaws are in my opinion. It's a fungi. How it spreads this stuff is through spores. Now, this game didn't specify how much of the spores you actually have to breathe in order for you to get infected. So, I'm guessing all it needs is one little tiny spore to be in your body, and if that spore is lucky enough, it will start developing and you'll become infected. Of course, this game also says that it can also spread through infections. Like bites. Okay, so biting, yeah, it can still spread it. But the major difference between Resident Evil and Left 4 Dead is that this game doesn't need this particular fungi does not behave like a virus or a bacteria in the fact that it doesn't have to be transferred through a bite. It is actually airborne. So my question is, if this is airborne, how are there still people existing? Like, if it's airborne and if it developed like into a form that can affect humans, every fucking body on this entire planet will be infected within like a month. I'm not sure if that's true, but there's simulations probably out there that you can check out. But I'm guessing in 20 years span, are you kidding me? In 20 years, you're telling me human race is still existing when a fungi that actually is airborne that turns you into one of those things exists? I don't see the possibility of that happening. Secondly, your character goes through a lot of these areas to where there are fungi, and of course you put on a mask and say, oh, I have a mask on. Fine, okay, I'm gonna let that go. But right when he stepped outside of that area, like literally like a feet outside of that fungi area, he takes his mask off. I don't know if the story writer or of this game realized that spores can live on your clothing for hours, and I mean hours. So just walking out and you take your mask off immediately, you're still going to be breathing in spores because it's attached to your clothes. So my question is, if it's like this, then you have a huge giant flaw in your entire story. You can't have the character walk into a spore infested area and then just immediately walks out, take his mask off and say, okay, I'm fine. It's scientifically impossible. Like, spores would still be stuck to his clothes, he would still breathe in no matter what. So, giant flaw in the story. If you just pay a little bit of If you just take a basic biology, you would know that. Like, I don't understand. Like, did they not do research on how fungi and spores work? It's kind of odd. But anyways, even if the scientific part of this entire storyline doesn't make sense, the storyline itself is very well written. Of course, I'm not saying the zombie part of the story is the main part of the story. By God, that's not even close. The main part of this entire story is, of course, the interaction between Ellie and Joel, which is the two main protagonists of this game, and their adventures throughout this entire thing to try to find the cure. So, story-wise, a little bit of flaw there in the scientific department, but in the emotional and the character department, it excels beyond any game I have ever played this year. That includes BioShock Infinite. This story for The Last of Us beats BioShock Infinite. I'm putting that out there right now. The story to The Last of Us is the best story I have ever experienced so far. Because BioShock Infinite only gives me a sense of awe. You know what I mean? Like, oh my god, I can't believe that happened. This game gave me so many more feelings than that. It gave me excitement, emotional feelings like sadness, happiness. It just put me through this entire emotional roller coaster that I was not expecting from a game. You know, it's just so very well written. So the story part of this game is definitely the best part of this game. So I'm gonna move on now. Let's talk about the gameplay. Yeah. Alright, so the gameplay of this game consists of stealth and gun combat. And like I already said, the gun combat part is mainly going to be dealt with when you're out of stealth. Stealth gameplay can be played with in any area. Very few areas to where they force you to actually play it non-stealthily. Very few. Those areas are annoying, but I also understand why. Like, you're doing something that takes time, like turning on an engine, and you need to protect that engine for a few seconds. So of course, the engine's gonna attract these infesteds. They're gonna come running at you, and you're gonna have to shoot them down. Unfortunately, you can't stealth your way to it, but those moments have to exist to produce that emotion that you need to get out there really quickly. But do not let this game fool you in the fact that it's a survival horror. This game is by no means a survival horror. It has such arbitrary elements such as pick up this item, pick up that item. You can only carry so many bullets. Okay, fine, but then you realize you're carrying also 20 rolls of duct tape, 15 pairs of scissors, 20 bottles of alcohol, 5 pounds of rags in your backpack, and explosive powder, and sugar. Like, whoa, I can carry all of that, but I can't carry more than 2 clips of ammunition? Really? So, it's odd. It's not a survival horror in that aspect. Of course, you can also make items, like health kits, shivs, which you can use. I'll explain about that a little bit more. But you can make items in the game. You can upgrade yourself using pills. Or, yeah, basically I call them pills. I don't know what they're called in this game, but I call them pills because they look like pills. So you find these pills throughout the game, and then once you get enough, you can upgrade your health, your accuracy, your reduce your sway to your weapons when you aim, and you also find basically upgrade stuff. Yeah, materials. Okay, there you go. You find materials that you can upgrade your weapon with. This is different from the materials you find to make items, and it's also different from the materials you use to upgrade yourself. So this game has 3 upgrade systems, 3 crafting systems basically. One is to upgrade your health, your character itself. One is to upgrade your equipment, and one is to create equipment like bombs, molotovs, shivs, like I said, health kits, all that stuff. And it's very odd to when they don't allow you to carry so much ammunition because they want you to conserve ammunition, but then they also break that by making you, not making you, but essentially making you picking up 20 rolls of duct tape, 15 pairs of scissors. It's just like, why am I picking up all of these stuff when I can just carry more ammunition? So it's breaking that immersion aspect of being a survival horror. You know, it's not a survival horror because you're making me pick up an insane amount of items. Also, the stealth gameplay of this game is by no means the best. I have run to many accounts where it just doesn't make any fucking sense in how they see me. Okay, first of all, I'm behind cover and yet they can still see me, and other parts where I sneak up on them, I press triangle, and just suddenly they turn around in that moment. Okay, I still stab them to death, but everybody else is alerted, even though that person did not make a sound. That is arbitrary stupid. Because why are they alerted? I don't understand. Sure, that one guy saw me, but he didn't have a chance to scream, he didn't have a chance to make any noise, he didn't have a chance to call his friends. So why is it everybody in a 20 square mile come at me? It's awkward, to say the least. And when you fail stealth, when you are in gun combat now, you also have a problem of it being a controller-based gun combat. Now, not a lot of games just have auto-aim. This game, I don't think it did. And it suffered a lot for being an analog-style aiming system. Basically, when I try to aim at somebody's head, it's literally practically impossible because you move your fucking analog stick 1 millimeter to the right, and the fucking crosshair jumps 5 feet into the right. So aiming with this game at far range is practically impossible unless you're like really dedicated to it and you're like, oh, let me just sit here for like 2 more minutes lining up my shots here. And once you line up, he moved out of the way, so like, fuck. So the combat in this game is by no means the best combat. Now, talking about combat, let me talk about the AI a little bit. My god, the zombie AIs in this game are either it's inconsistent. There you go, that's the word I'm looking for. It's inconsistent. So these guys, okay, are what they called clickers. They're blind, they're not supposed to see you, and the only way they can attack you is if you are making a lot of noise, and then they can hear you. Okay, they have super hearing. Oh, that reminds me about something I need to talk about too. So super hearing is what they're gonna have, and sometimes you just remain absolutely still, but since they're walking in your direction, they automatically see you and charges at you and attack you for no reason. Even though they're not supposed to see you, they're only supposed to hear you. I'm remaining still, and somehow, just because I'm in their walking path, okay, they just charged at me. They didn't bump into me or anything, okay? I'm slowly moving out of the way, very slowly. And the game even says if you move the analog stick very little forward, your character will make no sound when he's moving. So I did that, but he still charges me at me anyway. So very stupid and inconsistent with this guy. But other than that, the zombie AIs are pretty nicely done. I mean by that is most zombies will just ignore you if you ignore them. You know, just like, oh, this zombie's in my way. Let me take out my silent weapon and kill him. And all the other zombies around, or infected, I should call them, are none the wiser. Beautiful, love it. Okay, that's how you should do every game with a zombie like this. Okay, beautiful style of way they did the zombies in this game. Wonderful AI. So talk about other AIs in this game. The bandits. Well, they function mostly the same as zombies, except they can see you. That's the only difference. And most of the time, they're quite annoying. They're actually harder to deal with than the zombies themselves, but as always, inside of zombie games, humans are always harder to kill than zombies, which is very stupid in my opinion, but that's how it goes. Let's see. Right, now I remember. The AI I'm talking about is the partner AI. Ellie and your other friends that you find throughout the game that follows you for a short amount of time. Their AI completely suck balls. I have never seen a worse AI in my life. They break immersion left and right. Here's how the game works for your partner AIs. Every enemy AI in this game will completely ignore your partner's AI. They completely ignore them. Your partner can just go bump into them and start kicking them and beating the shit out of them, and they will not react. Okay? If you are not detected in the first place. Okay? So basically, all the AIs in this game will not react to your partner's AI. Now, why do they do that? In a gameplay's perspective, yeah, okay. You can't design a perfect AI. I understand that. But at least put some goddamn effort into it so that the fucking AI doesn't run into an enemy. I'm just hiding behind a cover, and suddenly Ellie jumps out of behind me, runs across the hallway in front of 3 people walking towards me, and hides in the other side of the hallway. I'm like, okay, they didn't see her. That's kind of odd. But you know, after playing 2 hours worth of that, I'm like, oh, well, I guess they can't see her, period. So, it's very stupid on what they did. Okay, fine. You can't design a good AI. So, design a simpler AI. Make her so that she can only stay behind you. And make it so that she will only attack enemies when you have alerted them. Don't make your fucking AI run all over the place trying to get into perfect cover. That's just stupid. Is that more realistic? Sure, but it's not realistic when your fucking partner AI runs into a fucking infested and the infested is just like, whatever, just continue on his way. It's like, really? It breaks my immersion in the game. Like, I'm in this middle of the room filled with infesteds, my partner AI is running around like a crazy bitch and bumping into zombies left and right, and I'm like, yeah, this is not distracting at all. So that is goddamn broken for the combat right there. Your AI functions semi-well in combat. They rarely kill stuff, but that's fine. But once you're in stealth mode, they do not know how to react to anything when you're in stealth mode. They just run all over the place. So big problem there. Other parts of the game that I did not like. Fighting the fucking humans. At the beginning of the game, I would say 4 or 5 hours at the beginning of the game, you are fighting infested most of the time, okay? The rest of the fucking game, minus 1 hour, is basically humans. Here's more humans with gun. Here's more humans with sniper. Here's a human with a flamethrower. Here's a human with a shotgun. Here's a human with an Uzi. Here's a human with a fucking baseball bat. Here's a human with a shovel. Here's a human with an axe. It's like, fuck me! What am I playing? Fucking Call of Duty? It's like, Jesus, throw some zombies at me, why won't you? It's ridiculous on how many humans you have to fight in this game. I'm just baffled on why they chose for you to fight humans so goddamn much. It's like I'm playing a zombie type game. Why am I fighting humans for the majority of the time I'm spending playing this game? Absolutely ridiculous. But one good part about the gameplay that I have to point out is when you get to play as Ellie. My god, that is such a change of pace. That is amazing. You've been playing as Joel for so long, for like roughly 7 hours, and you're now switched over to playing Ellie. Even though the combat mechanics is the same, just because of that switching of character made the game so much better and so much more relief. And if you can believe it, she hunted a deer as her first mission. Remind you of any other game that was released this year? Yeah. Whew. So, the combat overall, not very great. Overall, the combat is not very great. Some good parts, some bad parts, unfortunately. Alright. Oh my god. Thank god I have notes in front of me because I completely forgot to talk about one last part of the combat system that I completely despise. Melee weapon in this game functions the same way as Dead Island and Dead Rising. Now what I mean by that is, they break in 4 to 8 hits. A fucking baseball bat can break in 6 hits. Like, really? Have you ever tried to take a baseball bat and hit something really hard 6 times? Yeah, it doesn't break, you idiots. I don't understand games when they do that. Like, this is an iron, like, pipe. And you're telling me it's going to break at the 8th hit when I'm hitting a zombie? Really? Is a human skull real? Actually, I shouldn't even say that. Am I that strong? Am I like Superman to where when I hit something, the fucking pipe actually breaks? That's just odd. And that pisses me off to no end. Like, you constantly have to switch weapon. That is not realistic. And I don't understand. Like, a survival horror game have to bring that realism into the game more than anything else, yet they have weapons that breaks in 8 hits, which nothing in this goddamn world that is made of metal can break in 8 hits. Okay, strike that. Some probably can, but I'm saying, like, if it's a metal baseball bat, is that really going to break in 6 hits? Really? I highly doubt that on many levels. And then when you start getting the iron axe, the iron fire axe, and that breaks in 6 hits also, it's like, okay. Yeah, that breaks my immersion so much. Like, I just constantly have to look for melee weapons in this game. And it's not fun. It's just not fun to look for melee weapons. Please, games, if you're trying to make a survival horror game, stop doing that shit. Okay, I don't care if this weapon is insta-kill. Do not make it break in 6 hits. That's just stupid. Alright, so that's the overall my feelings on the game. Of course, I focus a lot more on the story and the combat in this game because I feel like personally that's where every game should be judged by. Not by the graphics, not by the sound, but by the story and the gameplay. Now, let's talk about all the good things of this game. Okay? The graphics are wonderful, the environments are beautiful, the story is extremely well written, the character dynamics is excellent and spot on. The sound is fucking amazing. And really that's all. 5 things. 5 things that are good about this game. Now let's talk about what's bad about this game. Some part of the story that just doesn't make any. Like I said, the science part of the story doesn't make any fucking sense. The combat in this game is just boring. It's just repetitive stealth combat and repetitive gunplay. The AI is your partner AI is completely broken. Not in the sense that it doesn't work, but in the sense that it breaks immersion all the time. Let's see. The fact that your weapon breaks so often is just ridiculous and also immersion breaking because, like, oh, I just used this for like 5 minutes and it's broken already. Wonderful. So mainly all the faults of this game, as you can just hear, is due to the combat of this game. And I feel like if the combat, which is the gameplay part of this game, is at fault, it will affect the score of the game majorly. Because what is a game? A game is something that you have to be having fun while playing. Not to say that I'm not having fun while playing this game, but I just wish the combat was a lot better. So I don't fucking get how people give this game a fucking 10 out of 10. It's just, it baffles my fucking mind on how people can give this game a 10 out of 10. You have your partner AI completely insanely broken, and the only way it worked is because the enemy AI completely ignored your partner AI, which is stupid to begin with, and just because of that one thing, a 10 out of 10 is a fucking out of the question, and it shouldn't even be on the table in the first place. Then you have horrible combat mechanic and repetitive combat, not horrible, I just say, like, god off the average combat mechanics, okay, and a horribly repetitive combat mechanics. So what all you do is just sneak around, and it's not even fun stealth either. The same animation is going to be playing over and over and over and over and over and over for every fucking stealth kill. And it's just so boring to watch. Sure, is it more realistic that way? Fine. But is it also realistic that you're a one-man army and you're just running and out there and just suddenly stealth killing 30 people? No. So there you go. So because of the combat of this game, I cannot, in my every being, give The Last of Us a 10 out of 10. So let's compare. Like I said, BioShock Infinite is my game of the year. Does The Last of Us beat it in that respect? In my opinion, The Last of Us beat BioShock Infinite in only one thing, and that is the story. Yeah, BioShock Infinite loses in story at the story aspect of the game. BioShock Infinite has the same graphic style. Well, not, I shouldn't say that. BioShock Infinite's graphics is excellent on what they were trying to do. This game is excellent in its graphics and what they're trying to do. And like I said, graphics shouldn't even be included, but I'm just saying, sound and graphics in both games are on par with each other. BioShock Infinite has beautiful, colorful graphics. This game has extremely realistic graphics. Both has their own unique way of presenting the game, and both excelled at it. Sound in both games are fucking amazing. No voice actor in either game actually got onto me so much to where I'd say this is just terrible. So the only two categories we have left to compare to each other to each of these games are story and gameplay. If The Last of Us beat BioShock Infinite in story, then obviously BioShock Infinite beats The Last of Us in gameplay. In my opinion, BioShock Infinite has much better gameplay than The Last of Us. Sure, there's not a lot of stealth to it, but again, is stealth? Who fucking cares? What matters is the gameplay, and BioShock Infinite has a lot more fun than more dynamic gameplay. You have a lot more options for you to choose from when you engage someone. This is either stealth or gun and run. So, you know, that's your only two choices. In BioShock Infinite, is use the environment, use your abilities, use your weapons, combine your abilities together, put traps down, use abilities to pull people into your traps, is put up a defensive shield, and then throw it back at. It's just all these different things. So in the combat aspect, the BioShock Infinite wins. Alright, so in my truly honest opinion, I can't give this game the same score I gave BioShock Infinite. I just can't, because the gameplay of BioShock Infinite is better. So for me, The Last of Us, I am giving it an 8.5 out of 10. And BioShock Infinite got a 9 for me. So, The Last of Us gets an 8.5 out of 10. I hope that this video, I know, I said under 10 minutes and I fucking went 40. But anyways, there was a lot to talk about. And for me to silly try to do it in under 10 minutes is just completely absurd. So, if you've listened, I hope that you have a better understanding of what I'm trying to say here, is that this game has really average gameplay. But if you want an engaging, the best story of this year, and all you care about is the story of a game, then The Last of Us is definitely for you. I highly recommend you get this game. I really do highly recommend you get it. It is one of the best stories you can ever experience, and you need to get this game. BioShock Infinite and The Last of Us are the two must-gets of this year so far, but for me personally, I still think BioShock Infinite is the game of the year still, because it has better gameplay. So that has been a my thoughts video of The Last of Us. I hope that it helps you in deciding if you want to get this game or not. Please get it. And I also hope that I was informative, and I hope that I didn't ramble on about a lot of things. And I am glad that you watched the entire video throughout the 40 minutes you've been here. So with that said, I hope to see you guys in another playthrough, which is probably going to be not very soon, because the next game that is going to come out on the PC is on the 25th, which is Company of Heroes. That's the next game we're going to play. So I'll see you guys then. Until then, have fun with The Last of Us if you haven't played it yet. That's all I have to say, and I will see you next time.